Welcome to Jikook are dating. Hope you're all doing well, Jikook fans. Today I bring you a video full of joy, tenderness, and surprises because yes, our Jikook is back. And when I say back, I don't mean they're causing trouble, but they're back to share the Jikook interactions we all miss with the public. And here, as I always say, it's all about patience, waiting quietly, because sooner or later they'll bring back the moments we love. A love that doesn't need big words. No declarations, no public confessions. It's in the little things, a lingering gaze, a seemingly accidental touch, and a protectiveness that comes naturally. And between Jungkook and Jimin, that love feels more and more real, harder to ignore. In recent moments captured on camera, many fans have begun to realize one thing: Jikook's relationship is anything but superficial. There's a depth of emotion there, a bond that can't be broken by distance, time, or even the presence of another person. It's as if they're proving that their love has no boundaries, not spatial, not circumstantial, and not even public expectations. Jungkook, known for his spontaneity and honesty, seems to be increasingly testing Jimin in his own unique way. It's not a harsh or painful test, but an emotional one. Jungkook often approaches unexpectedly, provoking a reaction, staring at him for a moment longer than usual, or uttering words that make Jimin pause for a moment before smiling shyly. It's as if Jungkook wants to confirm one thing: whether Jimin still feels the same way, whether the bond is as strong as ever, or even stronger. Interestingly, Jimin always responds to each test with a gentle yet reassuring manner. Jimin never seems to pull away. Instead, he responds with a small touch, a soft laugh, or a warm look that seems to say, "I'm here." There's no panic, no rejection. Instead, there's a palpable sense of comfort. Many fans believe that Jungkook does this not out of doubt, but out of concern. She wanted to make sure her feelings weren't one-sided, that Jimin was truly on the same page as her. And every time Jimin reacted, her answer was always consistent. The love was still there, even deeper. What makes Jikook different is the way they understand each other without saying much. When Jungkook looks tired, Jimin is the first to approach. When Jimin seems uncertain or emotional, Jungkook is always by his side, whether with a quick hug or a reassuring presence. This isn't just a habit between the members, it's a recurring pattern, and it's too specific to be a coincidence. The boundless love they display is also evident in their courage to remain true to themselves, even under the public spotlight. They don't change the way they interact to avoid speculation. They don't hold back their laughter, they don't hold back their touch, and they don't hold back their caring. It's as if they've reached a point where love matters more than anyone else's opinion. Jungkook tests Jimin, yes, but not to bring him down. He tests him because he wants to feel safe. And Jimin responds to each test with a calmness only someone truly sure of their feelings can possess. That's where Jikook's strength lies, not in the drama, but in its stability. Ultimately, Jikook doesn't need to tell them that their love has no boundaries. They've already shown it, in the way they waited for each other, cared for each other, and chose each other, over and over again. And perhaps that's where love truly shines, when it doesn't need to be proven with words, because everyone can feel it. And as time went on, it became clearer that what was forming between Jungkook and Jimin wasn't fragile. On the contrary, their relationship seemed mature, calm, and full of trust. Every small moment they shared seemed to hold a deeper meaning, as if there was a secret language only the two of them understood. A language that didn't require loud words, because it could be read simply through their eyes and body language. When Jungkook smiled broadly after successfully getting Jimin to react, whether with surprise, a chuckle, or an embarrassed expression, a genuine sense of satisfaction was evident. Not because he'd succeeded in teasing, but because he'd gotten the emotional answer he'd been seeking. Jungkook seemed to want to reassure him that his presence was still a safe haven for Jimin. And every time Jimin approached without hesitation, every time he chose to stay by Jungkook's side, all those questions were answered. Jimin, on the other hand, displayed a different form of love. If Jungkook is a warm, energetic flame, then Jimin is a gentle, steady protector. He doesn't need to do anything grandiose to prove his feelings. Simply by his presence, his attention, and his constant sensitivity to Jungkook's emotional changes. Even when Jungkook appears to be joking, Jimin can still read what's lurking beneath. Many fans have noticed that this dynamic isn't new. Year after year, the same pattern persists. Jungkook seeks, Jimin welcomes. Jungkook tests, Jimin strengthens. It's not a grueling game of push and pull, but rather a process of mutual reassurance, locking each other's feelings away in a safe haven. And in a world as stressful as the entertainment industry, having one person who truly understands without needing to explain is a tremendous blessing. The boundless love they display is also reflected in the way they grow together. They don't stand in each other's way of blocking each other's light, but instead encourage each other to shine. Jungkook becomes bolder in expressing himself, while Jimin seems more confident in his emotions and tenderness. It's as if each other's presence gives them permission to be fully themselves, without fear of judgment. There are moments when Jungkook seems to deliberately distance himself for a moment, as if to see how Jimin will react. But the opposite is true. Jimin doesn't chase frantically, nor does he display excessive jealousy. He waits quietly, confident that Jungkook will return. And sure enough, Jungkook always returns, as if the distance is just another way of reaffirming that their core remains the same. All of this has led many to believe that Jungkook isn't doubting Jimin. He's ensuring their emotional future remains solid. Testing isn't out of distrust, but out of a desire to protect. And Jimin, with all his gentleness, answers each test with consistent presence, the rarest and most precious thing in a relationship. At this point, Jungkook isn't about viral moments or clips that send fans into a frenzy. It's about continuity, about how two people choose each other over and over again, in similar and different situations. About a love that doesn't need to be narrowed by labels or definitions. If love has boundaries, then Jungkook and Jimin seem to have crossed them far. They don't ask if it's safe, if it's appropriate, or if everyone will understand. They simply feel and keep walking together. And perhaps that's precisely why their story feels so powerful, because the truest love is one that's never stopped being tested, but always passes with meaningful silence.